I will show one way to use VSCode to develop Camel and Fuse applications, to develop them locally and also to push them to OpenShift. I will focus on Spring Boot case, and I will start by showing you which VSCode extensions are very useful for this case. The first one is to the Java extension pack to deal with everything around Java. There is the Spring Boot extension pack. As I will focus on the Spring Boot use case, it is very useful. We also have the OpenShift connector extensions, which will allow us to deploy to OpenShift instance. There is the language support for Apache Camel, which will provide help mainly around the Camel URI inside files. And there is project Initializer by Red Hat, which will help us to create the first. So let's start with this extension and to create the project. So if I hit Ctrl-Shift-P, which is opening the command palette, I have the generate a project using project Initializer command, which is taking several seconds to open. And after, we can see that we have several missions. I can take, for instance, one of them, which is providing Camel and Fuse possibilities, for instance, the REST HTTP one. And here I will choose the Fuse Red Hat one. I can choose the group ID, artifact ID version. Okay, I don't really care, and I will just create inside my workspace, my fresh workspace. So if I go here, I can see my project, and when I start to manipulate it, it is starting to compile everything and configure everything. I will go to my Camel root application. So here I created, it is a Camel project using Java DSL. And we can see that I have access to some information on the Camel URI, on the Hoover, for instance, but I have also access to completion. I won't show everything, but yeah, this is useful to when dealing with your Camel URI. There is quite a nice integration with test, with the Spring Boot test. So if I open my test, I can see that I have a run test here. And if I click on it, and it is launching my test class directly inside VS Code. So this part is, this is really Spring Boot generic thing, but really useful when developing your Camel application based on Spring Boot. And here, so now the test has been launched and are in success. I can see the little tick. Another useful thing, it is to use the Spring Boot dashboard. Here we can see that there is my booster, which is my project that I created. And I have some options on right click, which is start and debug. So it is really cool that I can debug it locally. So for instance, so I click on debug, it is starting the application. I will open one service. Greetings. So yeah, here to return, I will put a breakpoint. So I'm waiting that my application is starting. It will provide a green dot when it will be ready. Yeah, and it is switching to the run view, debug view, but yeah, so it is starting. And if I go back to my initial view, I can see I have the green dot and I can click on it to open in browser to access my application. So it opens in the other screen, and here is my application. If I click on it to access it, I have my breakpoint, which is it, and I can see the value of it. So that's very convenient. And if I go next, I can see that it is working. It is writing things. So we have seen that we can work on the application locally, which is the fastest way in any case, but we can also deploy in OpenShift. I will stop my application locally and jump to the OpenShift view. So I expect that you have a local instance of OpenShift to do it, so install with Minishift, and that you have not disabled the XPath add-on, which is providing the component types. So by default, when I create it, I have a demo project, and inside it, I will create a new component based on my Workspace directory where my project is based. I will choose a name for my component, and I will take a component type. I will take the Red Hat OpenJDK8 OpenShift component type, choose the latest version, and it will deploy my local Spring Boot application, which is a Camel root, to my OpenShift instance, to my local OpenShift instance. It takes a bit of time to download everything. I will cut here and see you when it has and get back to you when it has finished. Back on track. So after 2 minutes of build, I'm back. The build has finished, and so my application is now available. If I try to access it and open in browser, so I need to create an URL to access it externally. I will choose the 8080 port, which allows to not configure anything else. So here we can see that I can access my application and that it is working. If so I go back here, if for instance I change my application, oh yeah, I need to first, I will go back to the initial, but if I click on watch, every time I do a modification, it will be automatically pushed. So if I this time modify it, the greetings, that I save it, the change is detected and it is rebuilding, automatically redeploying the application. Don't be afraid. So yeah, that's quite nice. If I open again in my browser and go here, so now I have it with the modified value.